Hello, hello, hello. My name is Mia McNeal, and I'm with the Country Music Association. I am their Senior Director of Industry Relations and Inclusion. And so today I wanted to just have a conversation with you all about, what does DEI mean, how to demystify it, and how to move beyond it, right? So a little bit about me. I've been in this field way longer than I even want to say, but back when it wasn't really that a conversation to talk about. And I've been able to watch it grow and change and evolve in that time. So first things first, if I say diversity, most people have an idea of what I mean, right? Diversity. You think I'm talking black and white, but that's not all I'm talking about. I'm talking about every single human being in this room. Every single human being in this room. It's not one thing. It's not one race. It's not that. It is everybody. It could be your age. It could be your socioeconomic level. It could be anything, your gender, your sexual orientation, your appearance, your tattoos, right? It can be the way you speak. I'm sure you can tell I'm a country girl, right? It could be your dialect. Way back when I first got into business, I would go to New York and people would say, "Ooh, say something." Say something? I'm a whole grown woman. What you want me to say? They had an idea of who I was based on how I spoke, right? And so no matter who you are, you can walk into a room and you bring diversity into it because you're different. Your perspective is different. What you've gone through is different. So always know that when someone says diversity, they're not talking about one thing. They're talking about all the things. All of us, right? Then they say inclusion. Okay, what is inclusion? What is inclusion? What is inclusion? Well, inclusion means that I can show up however I do, most times with a big old afro, right, RJ? It's time for color today. So I got color and they straighten it out. Humidity hit hard, it'll be real big. And I'm cool with it either way. But I should be able to show up as I am in my own skin and be seen and heard and valued and respected for who I am. Inclusion is not assimilation. That's not what it is. That means that I have to show up and become who you want me to be. That's not what inclusion is. Inclusion is not exclusion. You don't kick anybody out when you're talking about inclusion, which means inclusion is also not, wait for it, cancel. That's not what inclusion is either. I do what I do for the people you want to cancel, right? I do what I do for all of us because it's important to give people space and grace to evolve. I'm 50. Ooh. And in my 50 years, I can tell you, I've needed some grace. Oh, I get it wrong a lot. I get it right every once in a while, but I get it wrong a lot. But I do the best that I can, right? And so when we're thinking about inclusion and diversity, it's important to know 100% that nobody, well, maybe somebody, but if it's somebody, it's a very small percentage of people. Very small. I'm thinking 2%. The rest of the 98% of people are fundamentally good. They just are. People wake up every morning, get dressed, come here, go to work, go to school, take care of everything they have to do. They're not thinking about any of it. Any of it. Nobody wakes up in the morning and says, okay, let me think. I got my shoes on, got my jacket. Now, how can I be a sexist, racist, misogynist, xenophobic evildoer today? Let me see. Who does that? Nobody. You got to feed the dog. You don't have time to do that. right? Nobody has time to do that. Most people aren't doing that. That is not the reality we live in. But most people mess up daily in one way or another. Why? Because you're human, and that's what humans do. And so as you're talking to people and as you're having conversations with other humans, it's important that you think to yourself, they have a perspective that's different from mine. They have a life story that's different from mine. So whatever they say, I need to be open to understanding what that is, right? So then we talk about equity. Every time I say equity, I think about that Simpsons episode. I think it was The Simpsons, and they said, they're trying to take our jobs. I think it was The Simpsons. It might have been South Park. Don't judge me. Don't judge me. Either way, that's not what equity is, right? How many of you in here, by a show of hands, have gone in the restroom and used the big stall? That looked like everybody. Any of you use a wheelchair? Because you know that's why the big stall is in there, right? Oh, I know. Let me raise my hand up. I go in the big stall because I can get comfortable. I can spread out a little bit, right? I love the big stall. But that big stall is about equity. That is saying we need to make a provision to make certain that the person in the wheelchair can move just like everybody else. You didn't need it, but you benefit from it. I know that you've had stuff in your hand and hit that button so it would open up. It wasn't for you. It wasn't. It wasn't for me, but I use it. Typically, when people think about equity, they think about it from a perspective of scarcity, right? Ooh, it's not enough. It's not enough. It's not enough jobs. It's not enough airtime. It's not enough. So what are you asking me to do? Because it's only a little bit, right? The lies, the lies, the lies. It's not just a little bit. It's an abundance of anything. We live in the greatest country in the world, on the greatest planet in the universe. You gonna tell me we ain't got enough? Y'all, you know better. We got plenty, right? So once you unpack DEI and realize, oh, she's talking to me, right? This is a human thing. I'm talking to other humans about making sure all of us humans can show up and everybody who needs something can get whatever that is they need. Okay, that's the baseline. So now, once we've done that, we start thinking about how to do it. How do you do this work that's so important? And it's so political. No, it ain't. Humanity is not political, right? It's just not. And so when we pull all of that good stuff together, all of it, and we say, okay, well, what do we do today? How do we do this? Well, to get something you never had, you got to do something you've never done. If you want to expand beyond just checking a box, because people say that all the time, we don't want to just check the box. We don't want to just check the box. Well, I don't want you to just check the box. Believe you me, neither one of us want you to check the box, right? So what do you do not to? Well, every single day you do little things. Everybody wants the big solution. It ain't one. It ain't a big solution. It's not something you can do one time. It's not. It's something that you do every day. Every day, throw away stranger danger. Y'all remember stranger danger? Stranger danger means don't talk to them. They are a stranger, right? Forget that. Talk to people you don't know. Engage with a different audience. Don't be afraid to talk to people and meet them where they are. And listen, actually listen. And listen to people who have nothing in common with you. And talk to people who have nothing in common with you. And when I say listen and talk, what I mean is listen, like really listen. Not listen and come up with your rebuttal. Like whatever they saying, you're really not listening because you are thinking about your rebuttal. Yeah, I hear all you saying, but I got something for you. I got something for you. You have heard nothing. And it might not be your experience, right? It's funny. You know, people look at me, and I'm all spiffy. I got on my shiny shoes. And if I didn't open my mouth, you might have thought I was kind of cosmopolitan. You would have been wrong. But you might have thought that, right? I grew up in an incredibly small town, 262 people at the bottom of Arkansas, Luann, Arkansas. And it was 262 people. That's counting all the cows, all the chickens, all of it, right? I grew up on a farm. Grew up hunting, fishing, although I will not clean it, won't. Don't ask me to clean the fish. I catch them. You clean them. I'm not that particular about real bait. I prefer like the kind that don't, never mind. I can probably outshoot most of y'all. The first real toy I ever recall having was a Red Ryder BB gun when I was 5. I cut my ponytails off when I was little because I wanted an afro like my daddy. First time I got scissors in my hand in kindergarten, that was the first thing I did. Those little dull scissors. I have no idea how I made it happen, but I did, right? I loved being outside. I still do. I loved being on a farm. Loved it. Outside is where I was meant to be. I just know it. Right? Now, if you're wondering how I ended up in country, I just told y'all I'm a woman of a particular age. Growing up, I didn't have a lot of TV for me, a lot of movies for me, necessarily, because most of them happen in urban cities, right? Chicago, New York, wherever. Mary Tyler Moore, throwing a hat, all of that. But then they had what we used to have called made-for-TV movies. And it was a made-for-TV movie of Loretta Lynn, coal miner's daughter. You couldn't tell me I wasn't Loretta Lynn. I thought she was living my life, right? I loved the way she spoke. I loved the way she moved. I loved that she was a firecracker. I loved how she would talk to Doolittle. I loved it all, right? So I felt like, okay, this is where I'm supposed to be. She's speaking to me. A little black girl with an afro in South Arkansas. Now, the reason why I want you to sit with that is because our music is everybody. It's not one person. It's not one group. Everybody that like country music don't drive a truck. Not all of them, right? But are you talking to me when you're talking about country music? Are you talking about my brother when you're talking about country music? I can give you data on top of data on top of data that can show you how diverse in all the old ways you may think about country music really is. But it doesn't matter. I just want you to know that it's different humans consuming it, right? And so when I talk about beyond the box and I talk about being intentional about expansion and inclusive when you think about expansion, It is reaching out to people you haven't reached out to before. It is being open to a lot of different things. It is not being afraid of any of it. You just can't be. If the only time you're thinking about how to be diverse is during the month, you know what I'm talking about? If that's the only time you're thinking about it, you're doing it wrong, right? And some of you might be afraid to even do it on a month because you're like, whoa, oh, they're going to come for me in the comments. Oh, social media, the big bad social media wolf is coming for me. All three of them. Because I am convinced that Twitter is not real. I'm sorry. In my brain, it's just not. I don't believe the people who talk mess about you ever bought a ticket, ever tuned in, because they haven't left their basement. So I know better. But you are beholden to that 12-year-old. I just don't get it. What works for you? If you are doing things all the time, then it's not weird when you do it at the month. If you always have things that women are a part of, then when March roll around and you say Happy Women's History Month, nobody's going to say, well, yeah, it's March. I guess you care now. And even if that 12-year-old does start showing out on Twitter and say you never do, you know better. You know better. When you are doing the right thing, something inside you stands a little bit taller. All of us have done the right thing before, whatever that is. You gave money back that you saw on the floor. Like any good human thing that you've ever done, you walk a bit taller. And when somebody try to talk stuff about you, you don't worry about it because you know better. So when people are calling you a name, if that's not your name, don't answer to it. If you know better, you know better. If you're always being inclusive, you're always thinking, dang, did we get that audience? Have we thought about that audience? Have we thought about that audience? What about this audience? I wonder if they like it. I wonder if they will. And if they don't, so move on to the next audience. Is that the first time you were wrong? Is it going to be the last time that you're wrong? Nope. So you're doing the right things all the time. And so you never have to worry about checking a box. And guess what? I don't want you to fill it up just to say you did. Don't just go pluck some random woman out of the crowd and throw in there. Why? Because it's a bunch of capable women you can pluck out the crowd and put them in there. You don't have to get rid of everybody that's in a role or in a company. No, but what is your bench looking like? What are you doing to make sure that you can grow within your organization with the talent you have there? And if you don't have something that you need inside that talent, how can you build a pipeline to get it? When people tell me, and they tell me often, we want to be more diverse. I'm like, well, what you mean? What does that mean exactly? Before I started at CMA, I was an entrepreneur. And a couple of my old clients I still work with every once in a while. And one of my clients is a women-owned firm. It's a marketing company, have nothing to do with the music industry, but it's a woman-owned firm. And inside that firm, all of the employees are women. All of them, because she gets it, right? She didn't get it when all of them became pregnant. As they should, as they can, if they want to, for sure. But diversity probably would have been good right around that time. No. And diversity in that space would have meant some men. So when we're thinking about how to be diverse, it's not just a matter of you checking a box. It's a matter of you looking around the room, right? And figuring out what's underrepresented. What's not here? What perspective are we missing? If you have everybody on your team and all of them are from Nashville, Davidson County, and every one of them came from Belmont. That actually can happen fairly easy, right? So if that's the whole team, do you think you have a handle on the world? You know, one thing I love about CMA is, you know, country music is international. It's not a Nashville story. It's a world story. So if you don't have anybody from any other perspective, how strong is your company really? It's not just about trying to get this look and face in the room. It's about looking around the room and understanding the perspectives that you have. Because in any company, diverse teams outperform homogenous teams every single time, as long as they are well managed. Got to put that cap. Do not throw all of them people in a bowl and just watch to see what happens. Because then you got a mess, right? You actually do need to have a conversation with everybody, right? You actually do need to manage it well. And having all those different perspectives from different parts of the country, from different age groups, from different socioeconomic levels, right? Because no group is a monolith. If I picked you, and you, all the men on this first row, they are not the same. They're just not. They are not the same. So is it possible to have a diverse group and it be other stuff? Yes. Yes. It may not just be getting 4 guys, 1 black, 1 Hispanic, 1. You still didn't get it right because all of them are Tennessee fans. You don't have 1 Alabama fan in the room, right? Not 1. So that is why it's important to move beyond the box. Because when you're just trying to check a box, you're not doing your business service. When you're looking at your company and figuring out where the missing link is, what part is underrepresented, then you're doing something. Oh, now you're cooking with grease. Now you're cooking. And whatever that is, it may be different from one company to the next. It's not the same for everybody. It matters what you're trying to do. It matters what your business is. Those things matter. So I'll leave you with this. Don't be afraid when somebody talks to you about DEI. Don't think that that means that you're the enemy, whoever you are. Know that in those conversations, they are also talking about you. Thank y'all.